JDM don't wrestle, but he was defending well, and he puts damage on you.
Off rip.
Starts putting damage on you, and he can box.
So how do you see that fight with him and Islam? Does he have the ability to beat a guy like Islam?
He'll get takedown attempts coming at him very early. This time. The last fight, he didn't have to deal with that when he was fresh. If Islam can start to pressure him early and take him down early, or even just make him wrestle, he might struggle.
Daniel Cormier has just shared his shocking insights on the upcoming clash between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena. On the other hand, Ilia Topuria gave some tips to Jack Della Maddalena, saying that going after Islam's body could help slow down his wrestling. He pointed out that targeting the midsection might make Islam think twice about shooting for takedowns. Ilia also complimented Jack's striking skills and the way he fights overall.
Have any advice for Jack, who might be coming up against Islam Makhachev next?
The advice, like, he has to work the straight body shots, because that takes away the intentions of the takedown. If he works with the straight body shots, he's gonna stop his intentions of the takedowns. And he's doing a great job at the striking. I like how he fights.
Moreover, Alexander Volkanovski broke down the potential fight between Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev, noting that Jack's showing against Belal Muhammad was the perfect warm-up. He thinks that experience sharpened Jack's takedown defense and boosted his self-belief, making it tougher for top-level wrestlers like Islam to drag him to the mat or control him there.
Islam Makhachev is going to be fighting Jack Della Maddalena. How do you think those two match up?
I think Jack's fight against Belal was a perfect fight for leading into that. Just purely, you take a lot out of stop and takedowns, because again, there's every fighter still going to have little doubts that are going to creep in. You know, I'm sure Jack was going through that, being like, all right, like, you know, worried about, you know, what if he takes me down and all that. But the fact that he was able to stop it and feel so comfortable, I guarantee you he's leveled up again. His confidence in his takedowns has just went up significantly leading into this fight. I think his confidence is going to be at a whole nother level. So through camp, like, I guarantee you, if he's back in training right now, people trying to take him down are going to find it almost impossible. You know, only the top guys are going to have a chance of taking him down, and they're going to have a very hard time even holding him down.
However, Daniel Cormier said Jack Della Maddalena does not wrestle but defends well and starts landing damage right away. He pointed out that Jack looked good in his last fight, but he did not have to deal with early takedown attempts when both fighters were fresh. Against Islam Makhachev, that will change. Islam will likely shoot early and force Jack to wrestle right from the start. Cormier believes that could be a serious problem for Jack if he is not ready.
JDM don't wrestle, but he was defending well, and he puts damage on you.
Off rip.
Starts putting damage on you, and he can box.
So how do you see that fight with him and Islam? Does he have the ability to beat a guy like Islam?
He'll get takedown attempts coming at him very early. This time. The last fight, he didn't have to deal with that when he was fresh. If Islam can start to pressure him early and take him down early, or even just make him wrestle, he might struggle.
Cormier added that Islam's style is different from typical wrestling. It is not just double legs and single legs. Islam uses footwork, trips, and cage pressure to break opponents down. Cormier said Jack may not recognize these techniques at the moment, and that could lead to trouble. While he could not give a prediction, Cormier said the fight is interesting because of the contrast in styles and how Jack handles that pressure.
I don't know that he's ever felt anything like he's going to feel, because it's not going to be double legs and single legs with Islam. It's going to be him playing with his feet, tripping him, moving around on the octagon side, doing things that he don't recognize as freely.
But she didn't answer the question.
The problem is, like, I can only give you that because I can't truly make a prediction. The job doesn't allow it.
Moreover, Sean O'Malley said Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena would be a big fight, especially after Islam's win over Belal Muhammad. He thinks Jack could make it competitive if he defends takedowns and lands clean shots, but also pointed out that Islam's striking is better than people think. O'Malley called Islam's move to welterweight exciting and said the size difference with Jack would not be a big factor, believing the striking could play a larger role than expected.
Islam relinquish his belt and go up to 170. Got JDM taking on Islam Makhachev.
I still think Islam's skill for skill is just so high level. For him to go out there and do what he did against Belal was very impressive, made that Islam fight more interesting. If JDM can shut him down and throw those hands, but Islam's boxing is underrated. That dude is slick. His kickboxing, his timing, like, he's a high level black belt in every aspect of MMA.
Big belt.
We'll give him that.
Jack versus Islam, I think, is huge. Not as big as Ilya versus Islam, but who knows? Maybe they both win and Islam comes back down to 55 and the fight's even bigger.
How do you think Islam does at welterweight?
Who knows? I heard he's not going to be any smaller than Jack come fight night. 55 to 70, that's a little bit different than 35 to 45, 45 to 55. But when your skill level's that high as Islam's is, it'll be interesting if he goes in there and tries to shoot on Jack. Jack stuffs him and gets in his face. But Islam's striking is so underrated. Islam could put the hands on Jack too.
Earlier, Daniel Cormier described the possible fight between Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev as a major showdown and wondered how Islam's wrestling and fight intelligence would hold up against someone naturally larger. He also raised doubts about whether Islam would have enough time to properly add size for a move to welterweight.
It's a fan.
Cormier pointed out what makes the matchup exciting, noting the champion versus champion dynamic, with Jack recently defeating Belal Muhammad and Islam potentially stepping up a weight class. He said the change in division brings more interest and raises the stakes.
155-pound champion.
Moreover, Charles Oliveira spoke about the contrast in styles between the two. He described Jack as a clean and patient striker who gradually breaks his opponents, while expecting Islam to rely on his wrestling. He believes the outcome will depend on Jack's ability to stay off the ground.
O que você acha que ganha entre o Jack Della Maddalena e o Islam?
Maddalena, ele é jogo muito complicado, porque ele é cara que ele não vem pra te nocautear rápido, ele vem pra te finalizar, ele vem te magoando, né?
Aos poucos, né?
Aos poucos. Foi o que ele fez agora na luta contra o Bilal. Só que eu acho que o Islam vai se dar muito bem nessa categoria, né, mano? Agora vai estar muito mais forte, é um jogo que, tipo, ele gosta de agarrar e botar pra baixo. Eu acho que o Jack Maddalena fazia a mesma luta que ele fez, né? Agora contra o Bilal, batendo, movimentando, saindo, machucando, é uma luta, mas se deixar o Islam agarrar e botar pra baixo é o time.
Dustin Poirier said the fight could be decided early. If Islam secures takedowns quickly, he sees Islam winning. But if Jack defends them, his power and reach could shift things in his favor. Poirier added that Islam's striking appears odd, mainly because fighters are always worried about his wrestling.
Do you think he beats Jack Della Maddalena?
I think we'll find out first, second round how much trouble he has getting him down. I think if he gets those takedowns, he's gonna get the win. If Jack can stop those takedowns, which he does have good takedown defense, I think the boxing and the size could wear on Islam and give him some problems. But his striking's, awkward and different. You have to worry so much about the takedown. You can't plant your feet and throw off those number combinations and really rip and sit on your punches because he's going to change levels. So it changes the way you fight. Well, for me, it did. I'm speaking from experience. So we'll see how Jack approaches and how Jack executes out there. But if you're worried about takedowns, your shots are different. You're not sitting on everything and standing in front of the guy. You're trying to move and be light on your feet. I think the first 2 rounds will tell us how this fight's gonna go.
Javier Mendez said facing Jack Della Maddalena would be more challenging for Islam than fighting Ilia Topuria. He pointed to Jack's size and versatility, saying his fighting style is more difficult to prepare for and adds more layers to the matchup.
JDM is a trickier puzzle to figure out than a potential fight with an Ilia Topuria. It's interesting because both of those guys, both JDM and Ilia Topuria, they both possess great boxing, right? But they're both kind of tricky puzzles in their own right. Who do you feel like is the trickier puzzle to figure out, JDM or Ilia Topuria?
For me, JDM. JDM is the tougher one because of number one, the size. Number two, he's good everywhere. If it was just boxing, then we don't have to worry as much because JDM's boxing is not as good as Topuria, but overall his kicking, his kneeing, his overall game is very good.
Ali Abdelaziz confirmed that Islam will fight for the welterweight title this year. He said Jack currently holds the belt, but if he is unable to defend it, the UFC might declare the title vacant and match Islam with a different opponent.
When will it happen, Islam and Jack?
Islam fighting for the title this year. The non-interim title, a title. Jack Maddalena is the champion, but if Jack is not available, it will be someone else fighting Islam for the title. That's what the UFC told me. That's what Dana told me. That's what Hunters. Everybody said that, and that was one of the stipulations. If Islam go up, Jack get injured, and I hope he's healthy, and he seemed like he's healthy. This title will be vacated, and Islam will fight for welterweight.
Stephen Thompson expressed concern about Islam's size at welterweight, pointing out that many fighters in the division are naturally much bigger. He acknowledged Islam's elite grappling, but said Jack's past success against wrestlers like Belal Muhammad shows how competitive the fight might be.
I don't know, man. I mean, when you're going up to the welterweight division, those are some big boys. And I know Islam Makhachev walks around fairly heavy, but a lot of these 170s, they walk around real heavy. I'm talking about, over 205, 210 to the 215. Some of the guys that I have faced would walk around at that weight. I think like the height, I think they might be the same height. I think JDM might be a little taller, but when it comes to those guys and their strength, Islam, I think, is going to have a tough time. Now, do I think he could get it done? Yes. I think he's that good of a grappler. But like I said, JDM has faced some of the best welterweight grapplers and wrestlers in the division. Belal being one of them. I think it's going to be a tough night for him. I would like to see Islam fight Topuria. That's just me. I would love to see that fight happen. But if he comes up, we'll see what the UFC gets behind. And we all know you got to convince the UFC to make it happen. And you do that first by getting on Twitter, shouting it out, and get people talking about it. And that's what Islam did. So we'll see if that fight happens with JDM.
MMA analyst Luke Thomas praised Jack Della Maddalena for his striking in his latest performance, saying it clearly stood out compared to Belal Muhammad's effort. While acknowledging Belal fought well, Thomas felt Jack's striking was on another level. Still, he pointed out weaknesses in Jack's game, including defensive lapses and some badly timed takedown attempts that could become a problem. He warned that against someone like Islam Makhachev, who is known for his control and ability to exploit mistakes, those issues could lead to serious trouble.
I really think that, you knew the striking prowess of JDM, if he could just have enough time to get it going, would be enough. I think Muhammad somewhat overperformed relative to expectations, but in the end, JDM was better. But the defensive lapses, to me, I know we have to focus on like how good JDM is as a striker, but what could have cost him here was the incompleteness of his defense. And to me, he took a quantum leap forward today in showing how good that was. Now, again, trying to turn that defense into offense by trying to go for some of those ill-advised takedowns, especially in the fifth, and then you're getting kind of lateral dropped for it. You do that against Islam, and I think that's a huge mistake. Islam just doesn't make a lot of mistakes, right? He doesn't necessarily have, at times, always the flashiest offense. I mean, he does have very good offense. We're talking about the pound-for-pound number one guy in the sport. But what really defines him is that he makes very, very good decisions.
Thomas also shared his excitement about Islam's move to welterweight. Although he agreed that a fight with Ilia Topuria would be thrilling, he said he was even more curious to see how Islam performs at 170 pounds. He admitted the jump in weight won't be easy and comes with no guarantees, but it offers Islam a major opportunity. If successful, Islam could earn a second belt and join the short list of fighters who have achieved that historic milestone.
I have to tell you, Islam up at 170 to me is exciting. I know what everyone's going to say. Oh my God, the best fight you could have made in MMA was Ilia versus Islam. I'm not denying it. I'm not in any way asking you to feel differently about what was the best fight that could be made. But here's what I am trying to tell you. Islam up at 170 could be something really special. It could fizzle too, but I'm trying to point out the positives. It could be really special. For him to become a double champ could be a very big deal.
Thomas added that Islam is expected to face Jack next, but a future bout with Topuria is still possible. Even if Islam loses a close fight at welterweight, he could return to lightweight and challenge Topuria later. Thomas said this move to 170 is exciting for fans and could lead to something special, especially if Islam chooses to stay at welterweight longer. He emphasized that Makhachev has earned the right to pursue a second title, citing his willingness to face top competition and
just because you're going to get, it looks like, Makhachev and JDM next, doesn't mean you actually can't get Makhachev and Ilia at some point. It could be he goes up against JDM and maybe he doesn't get his ass kicked, but maybe he just kind of loses and you're like, oh, all right. Then you go back to 55 and you can see what's up after that. So it's not even a case that you can't get it. But my point is, Islam at 170, if he gives us 3 or maybe even 4 of those, is a treat as far as I'm concerned. Like him vying for double champ status, he's earned it. He gave Volkanovski 2 cracks. He accepted one of those on short notice, and I know it was like shorter notice for Volkanovski, but Nevertheless, accepting to fight Alexander Volkanovski on very, very short notice is still risky no matter who you are and no matter how much prep. And he gave him both of those. He did one of those fights in Volkanovski's home country. He's earned it. He's earned it. He's absolutely earned it.
Philip Rowe shared his thoughts on a possible fight between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena, saying he would back Jack to come out on top. He raised concerns about whether Islam has the physical strength needed to compete at welterweight and pointed to Jack's power and strong ability to get back to his feet as key factors. Rowe predicted that Della Maddalena would win the fight by stoppage.
Philip Rowe, what's cracking, man?
Chilling.
Hey, now listen, you're welterweight. You've been in the game a long time. Islam moving up to 170. Is he big enough for 170?
My personal opinion, I don't think he is, but he's a champ. We'll see when he's there. You know what I'm saying? He has a fight. He's fighting the champ. That's the best 170 in the world right now, right? So we'll see.
So you don't think he has the size, but how do you think he does in a fight versus JDM?
I personally think JDM beats him. I think JDM will be able to get up if he does take him down. I don't think he'll be able to take JDM shots. I think personally he'll stop Islam.
Kamaru Usman advised people not to underestimate Jack Della Maddalena, calling him a highly skilled fighter. He praised Islam Makhachev for bringing more excitement to the welterweight division and said fans will be eager to see what happens if Islam captures the title.
Like basically tonight you got yourself a title shot, you got yourself the winner of JDM Islam?
I mean, you don't feel like that? Who else?
You're the biggest name, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But I'm asking you.
Oh yeah, for sure. JDM is no slouch. Let's not look past JDM. I said that in his last fight, and he went out there and he showed you guys, don't look past him. He's very, very talented. Islam is extremely talented. I love Islam. I think him coming in makes that division a lot more interesting. So if he's able to get in there and get the wrestle that belt away from JDM, former pound for pound, current pound for pound, I mean, I think everybody wants to watch that. So yeah.
Navajo Sterling said he believes Jack will easily beat Islam in his first title defense. He acknowledged that some may see his opinion as extreme, but predicted Jack will dominate Islam so convincingly that talks of Islam fighting Ilia Topuria will fade. Sterling pointed to Jack's size and mid-range striking as key reasons Islam will struggle to shoot or use his usual strength.
You picked JDM to win. Now he's got a big challenge in his first title defense against Islam. Do you think he's got what it takes to beat an Islam Makhachev in his first defense?
People are going to say it's a wild take, but I reckon JDM smokes Islam. Shins him so bad. It's going to be so bad that the Topuria Islam thing will just be gone.
So you think Islam's wrestling won't be a threat to JDM just because he's a lot bigger?
He's a lot bigger, and like when you watch JDM, like you put him on the end of mid-range, he's just going to throw. It's hard to like shoot in on. He's not going to be able to just abuse his size against him either. I think Islam's in for a rude awakening.
Gilbert Burns supported Islam's move to welterweight, saying it fits better for a fighter of his size. He mentioned Islam previously said he would not give up the lightweight title, but eventually did, possibly due to contract decisions. Burns sees the move as a good step for Islam to continue proving himself.
What did you think about the Islam vacating the belt and going up and immediately getting a shot at the welterweight bout? And what do you think about that? And how different is that fight going to play out than what we saw versus Bilal?
That's going to be a great fight. Islam's working very hard. He's being saying vocal that he wants to go up to 170. I think he's big. I think he's a big boy. He killed himself to make 55. I think that's the right division for Islam. He just tweeted something after the fight that he will not vacate the title, and then he vacated the title. I don't know. I think he was a little okay. If you're going up, we gotta. I don't know, but probably that was in the negotiation. And yeah, I like him moving up. Proving himself. He's #1 pound for pound right now.
Burns also said the matchup between Islam and Jack is much more competitive than people realize. He highlighted Jack's training with names like Alexander Volkanovski and Craig Jones, who studied Islam's style closely. Burns believes that kind of preparation could make a big impact in the fight.
It's a good fight. Jack and Islam closer than people think, especially with Jack Della Maddalena doing a lot of training with Volk, with Craig Jones, those guys that kind of crack the Islam on that first Volk fight. I think they're going to have a lot of info, a lot of study, a lot of answers. It's closer than people think, this fight. I really like this fight. I don't have time right now. I didn't have time to dig deep a little too much in that fight, but I think it's way closer than people think. and JDM has a clear shot on beating Islam, you know.
Corey Sandhagen showed respect for Jack's skills, but said he is not a fan of Jack fighting Islam so soon after winning the belt. He prefers to see Jack defend against other welterweights first. Sandhagen said he is more excited about the possibility of Islam facing Ilia Topuria, and is also hoping to watch Tom Aspinall take on John Jones.
I missed that one actually, but I have watched a bunch of JDM's fights, and I know that he's real good, but I don't really want to say JDM fight Islam, honestly. I don't really like when someone wins a belt and then they fight a guy from a lower weight class. I kind of want to watch JDM fight at 170 for a bit before too much of that stuff starts happening. I really want to watch Ilia and Islam fight, and I really want to watch Tom Aspinall and John Jones fight.
Joaquin Buckley said he would pick Islam Makhachev to win if he faced Jack Della Maddalena. He also mentioned his interest in fighting Islam one day if they both reach the top, but doubts Islam will stay at welterweight long. Buckley believes if Islam captures the belt, he will likely retire soon after to protect his legacy and undefeated record.
Between JDM and Islam, who do you think wins that fight if they do book?
Islam.
Islam. Yeah. You feel like maybe down the line you two could fight? Obviously, if he becomes champion and you're a top contender.
I would love it, but I don't think Islam would. I truly believe if Islam is able to win that 170 title, he gonna move. What, he gonna stick around and potentially, lose that winning streak? I don't think so. I think he really just trying to cement his name, and then once he wins that welterweight belt, my man gonna retire at the end of the day. That's my opinion.
Jack Hermanson said it is tough to judge fights when someone moves to a new weight class, but at lightweight, Islam looks unstoppable and could be the best fighter in the world. He said it is still unclear if Islam can be just as dominant at welterweight. Although Jack impressed him against Bilal, Hermanson still favors Islam and wants to see more from Jack before giving a firm prediction.
Yeah, it's so hard because you never know when people are changing weight classes. But in lightweight, Islam looks like unbeatable. It's just like maybe the pound for pound best. It's just so insanely good. But can he do it in a weight class above? I'm not sure. Really, really hard to predict a fight like that. I think I still have to say Islam.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I think so. Yeah, we need to see a few more fights with Jack. It looked amazing against Bilal, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's something about Islam is just so good.
That's it for today's video. So what are your thoughts on this? What do you think about their fight? We would love to hear your thoughts. So share your thoughts in the comment section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video. Also check out our other videos on the screen right now.